Welcome back once again. Ladies and gentlemen, we are doing all these efforts and exerting the atmosphere of climate change and to try to limit the increase of the planet temperature to maintain the 1.5 temperature target for the coming generations, for our youth, for our children, for all those who are going to come in hundreds of years from now to live on planet Earth in a nice way. We received the planet, contact planet, and we want to deliver the planet the same, or maybe better if we can. So the main target is our youth, our children, the coming generations. And yesterday there was a nice important meeting between the president of COP27, Foreign Minister Sameh Shoukry, and the youth and the children. To shed more light on this, we are very much delighted to have with us via phone Engineer Rahman Fahmy, the COP27 Observer for Youth and Children Organization. Thank you very much for being with us, Engineer Rahman, and I really thank you very much for your efforts exerted there in the COP27.
Thank you so much, and it's a pleasure being with you. Good morning, and good morning from Sharm el-Sheikh. As you thankfully said, so COP27 highlight a very strategic point in the history of climate change. After COVID, right now the highest number of registered delegates in the COP history, 40,000 registered delegates for COP27. Also a very strong highlight on youth and children. Just before the COP, with 2 days, the biggest summit for youth, the Conference of Youth, was held in Sharm el-Sheikh under the auspices of the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the organization of YONGO, and more than 1,500 young people from all over the world also gathered to issue the Youth Global Statement, which is going to be delivered today to the COP27 President, His Excellency Minister Sameh Shoukry. So a lot is happening on the ground, also 1 day before His Excellency President Biden visit. So a lot to be achieved, hopefully, and also the announcement of Sharm el-Sheikh adaptation strategy, which might be adopted also during the negotiations. So hopefully a good summit for the climate ecosystem, and also a fruitful one, and hopefully to be continued also in COP28
Inshallah.
in UAE.
Yes. Sir, also I'd like to speak about the youth and children regarding their awareness, because of course, as you are dealing all the time with those new generations, before we thought that it's going to be that hard and that difficult for them to know about food crisis, water scarcity and stuff like that. Now I think the case is totally different, and maybe they know better than us. True?
Yeah, actually what we have witnessed right now, that children and youth from all over the world are pushing politicians and pushing the corporates and the business community to act towards climate, not only through advocacy, but also through on-ground action. And this is what we have witnessed. So right now you can find a lot of climate action solutions being presented and implemented on the ground by youth-led organization or youth-led companies. From them also female-led action. So the scene is different right now. Young people are not only demanding climate action and climate justice, they are also implementing them on their respective communities. And this is also was reflected on the importance of having a pavilion dedicated for youth and children, and also for the first time having a presidential COP27 youth envoy, Dr. Al-Omrani, who is heavily focusing on delivering young people messages towards the COP presidency.
Yeah.
So a lot of developments and hopefully towards the right direction, definitely.
And they do have the confidence in themselves that their visions, their points of view are going to be listened to. I mean, they do have innovative ideas that since we are speaking about our youth, we are thinking about thinking out of the box, taking into consideration that they do know now that they are going to build their own future by their own hands. If you want to elaborate on that, particularly thinking out of the box, brainstorming, the very valuable round table discussions which are taking place even as we speak.
Yeah, exactly. Innovation and entrepreneurship represents a very good part of COP27. We have a whole innovation hub to shed the light on youth-led innovations and creativity, whether in climate action, technology, or also capacity building. So right now, youth are also engaged in a lot of, as you said, side events, panel discussions, roundtables with very high-level senior expertise as well to share experience, to voice their demands, and also present their innovative solutions. So,
Amen to that. High-level expertise and top executives, because this COP or this edition of the UN Climate Change Conference is dubbed the COP of implementation. With all my respect to negotiations and dialogue, but the most important thing is to implement what we have agreed upon.
yes, exactly, and hopefully this is the case as well. So, as the COP president highlighted, that we need implementation, and we need not only pledges, but we need to see actions on the ground. And if we are talking about actions, we have to praise the role of youth in implementing several climate projects and climate actions on their respective countries, and this is very visible in the different pavilions in COP27 and also the main agenda. So hopefully towards the end of the summit, we will reach, let us say, better points of the status of the future of climate change and the climate crisis, with more engagement of young people and also integration of many other concepts that's being negotiated on as we speak.
Engineer Abdurrahman, we learned the lesson the hard way. Unfortunately, despite the fact that Africa is the least participating in the carbon emissions, but unfortunately we are exposed to danger maybe more than any other place. But still, if you would revise or review the tornadoes, the big storms, the landslides, the floods which took place all over the world just in 2022, you are gonna find unprecedented events, unprecedented anger of our mother nature, planet Earth. These things or these topics, have we deeply and thoroughly discussed them on the ground to know that the climate change issue is not directed to special people or special area?
Yeah, the COP27 presidency announced the adoption of loss and damage discussions in the agenda of COP27. We are not sure yet whether the loss and damage concept held the let us say, the most polluting countries accountable for any loss and damage happening in the infrastructure of the developing countries or the less fortunate countries, let us say, in terms of climate change. And this accountability also translates into more financial support and more technical support towards the resilience and adaptation of such ecosystems, especially in the global
I'm sorry
south.
for the interruption,
However,
sir. I think that there is an example of what you have said between Germany and Chile.
Yeah, exactly. But until now, it's not clear. It's not clear whether the loss and damage will be adopted as a strategy of COP27 or as an outcome even. So the COP27 presidency put that item on the discussions right now, and it shall contribute heavily towards the accountability of, for example, USA, China, Russia, or other extreme polluting countries towards the global south. Mm-hmm. However, We are not sure yet that this will be agreed on from all big stakeholders, but we hope that the loss and damage will be a starting stone or a foundation stone for a more accountability support technically and financially from the global north to the global south, and hopefully increasing the resilience among the less fortunate communities and the most vulnerable communities towards climate change.
We all hope that this at least is going to be one of the very first solutions to be discussed on the ground and to be implemented on the ground. If you permit me, sir, I'd like to speak a little bit more about Egypt. Egypt, which we really want to witness this statement. Egypt turned to be a green hydrogen or green energy or renewable energy hub for the Middle East, for Europe, for all over the world, maybe if we're going to be that ambitious. Is this a dream till the moment, or it's something, a process going on, and we already started it, and despite the fact that it's a long journey, but we have already stepped to the very first steps, sorry.
Yes, exactly. So the green hydrogen is a long journey, and the adoption of green hydrogen in our energy infrastructure, whether transportation or electricity generation, is not something to be done overnight. It has to be done over a long-term strategy. And actually, the Egyptian government announced a couple of MOUs and a couple of strategies to be one of the leading hubs for the green hydrogen worldwide. And this is actually something that will put Egypt on the front lines of new green and clean technologies, especially in the energy sector. However, also still a lot to be done on a technological R&D level, and also building the world infrastructure to utilize the green hydrogen within the transportation.
And to attract international banks, international financial organizations to invest here in Egypt. Just before COP27, I was reading some of the statements which were released by, for example, the African Bank for Development, the European Bank for Construction and Development, making sure that they are going to attend with high-ranking delegations, meaning that they do have the trust that when they come and participate here, they are going to find chances for investment in such projects. True?
Yeah, as you said, the role of financial institution, banking and non-banking, is really very essential, especially that the climate finance is facing a critical challenge. So there is the demand of allocating more than 100 billion US dollars per year for the climate action, adaptation and mitigation. However, we haven't reached actually to 70% of that over the last years, and there is a huge demand from the financial institutions and also countries to pledge more finance. However, still the discussion is going on the modality of finance, how we are going to finance. Are those going to be concessional loans? Are those going to be investments or just grants? Whatever. So as we speak right now, the discussions are also ongoing with the different financial institutions on increasing the financial contribution of countries and also the business sector towards the global climate action ecosystem. Hopefully, also, and as you know, this COP is focusing on Africa, so hopefully as well, more financial attention and more financial contribution will be directed towards Africa during COP27, hopefully.
Yes, Engineer Rahman Fahmy, COP27 Observer for Youth and Children's Organization. Thank you very much for your input, sir, and have a very good day. And to continue with shedding more light on the activities of the UN Climate Change Conference, COP27, Nile TV senior correspondent Greet Hussein conducted the following interview with Ambassador Stephen Parkour, Minister of Peace Building and Secretary General of Nations Transitional Committee in the Republic of South Sudan.
It's a COP of implementation, from vision to implementation. Here, the different think tanks